All right. Confession time. Now, I hope you understand this is hard for me. I was young. I didn't know better. I would appreciate a very supportive response. I, Bolter, when I was a wee little baby Bolter, was an elf fanboy.
That are alive coming with me.
ZX Spider-Man Commodore 128 and 64. I hit the floor, I hit the shore. Got gaming skills from days of yore. I close the dead computer roles, playing till my hands are sore.
So, let's just get this out of the way. Me and elves have a very sordid history. We go way back. So when I was a little bolt pistol, my family took a lot of road trips. But eventually I was talking and listening, so my parents had to do something to keep me entertained on long rides. Going to sleep wasn't an option, and sitting still was out of the question entirely. Solution? Audiobooks. Before a trip, we would pop into a library, pick up a couple of audiobooks, and off we'd go. But this one time, we were there, and my mom found one, and brought it over to my dad. It said something along the lines of, well, this one for sure. And my dad responded with excitement. That audiobook was The Hobbit. So, of course, I knew about Santa Claus, so I knew what an elf was. Tiny, dumb hat, made toys, sure. But I was losing my little child mind listening to this story. The elves fought. They were tall and beautiful. And most of all, everybody liked them. I loved elves. I got into Magic the Gathering as a kid because of elves. I unironically wanted to be an elf as a dopey little kid. I sometimes wonder if there's an alternate timeline where I followed through with pointing my ears. But I got older. And with age came wisdom. And my first group to play Dungeons & Dragons with me. And of course, I was excited and wanted to play an elf. Until I actually looked into them, and everyone at the table chuckled a little. They were way less impressive than I remember, and they were jerks? Yes, jerks. Always right, pompous, self-important. This was coupled with my table mates pointing out that other races could play paladins better. And of course, this only got worse when I took off the rose-colored glasses and actually took a look around. Eldar, elves in The Witcher, elves in Dragon Age, elves in Warhammer Fantasy, even in Tolkien's own books. Elves suck. It was like growing up to meet your childhood hero to find out he was an ass all along. I've occasionally asked my friends nowadays if they like elves because they relate to them, or they like elves because someone told them they were cool a long time ago, and you really should like elves. I've actually stumped a couple of them with that question. So, what's my damn point with all this? Well, today we're talking about elves, particularly the Elves of Llanawar, a forest in the continent of Arona, on the plain of Dominaria. Yes, the Magic the Gathering OG, the template, the old classic, Dominaria. So this is post-Ice Age, and around and after the time of the Phyrexia invasion. So Dominaria when we last saw it. For those who don't know, this is Magic the Gathering's original stomping ground. It looks like classic fantasy, so it's pretty damn cool. Llanawar, the forest, not the elves, is a heavily wooded section of Arona, providing huge amounts of green mana, and home to the Llanawar elves. These elves are not the virtuous Tolkien elves you might be used to, as there are really only two options when you enter Llanawar. You are either always being watched as you traverse the pathless trees, or you are too dead to realize that you are always being watched. Xenophobic up to the Phyrexian Wars, and they developed this habit due to the Ice Age. People were ravaging the woods, desperate for kindling instead of freezing to death. This attitude is exemplared by the Order of the Steel Leaf, a bunch of zealots believing in elven purity and worshipping the half-elven planeswalker Phalis. Whoops. The elves are not a united people, though. They are split between 7 elf kingdoms. These elfheims, as they're called, have diverse national identities, customs, and other elfy bullshit. And here's the short version. By all the gods, help me with these names. The Basfem are prideful, believing things like, because we are strong, it is our responsibility to aid the forest when we can. The Hedressel are holier than thou, thinking we must maintain our distance, culturally and physically, from other people to maintain our connection to the woods. The Kelfe are drifters, preaching to search for stability, whether in the swaying treetops or in the turmoil of life, is fruitless. The Loridal are loners, saying, I am my own master, but I am strongest when I work as part of the web of life. The Racial are Eldath worshippers, I mean pacifists, speaking, to live in peace with nature, we must first learn to live in peace with each other. The Ruadak are trusting, proselytizing, we must open ourselves to new cultures, new peoples, and new ideas, or we will rot like a fallen log. This is where you find a lot of half-elves, by the way. And the Staprians are hardliners, shouting, those that crossed lines must be put in their place. That's it, that's all of them! Now the Llanawar elves did actually survive the Phyrexian invasion, one of the first big events in Magic the Gathering that had planes being mashed on top of another, an alliance of old-school planeswalkers, and a villain by the name of Yawgmoth. They survived thanks to the efforts of a guy named Aldamri, who united all 7 Elfheims in the battle against the Phyrexians. And that's about all I got on these guys. After the Mending, another big event that had old-school godly planeswalkers turn into new-school teenager with attitude planeswalkers, and sent Nikki B into one of fiction's longest shit fits. Most of the elves are teenagers, with the average age being somewhere around 60, in the forest due to the massive casualties in the Phyrexian War. Elves are, of course, aligned with green mana and green mana philosophy. For all my D&D nerds out there, you can actually play as one of these guys in 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons, with the help of a couple of supplements, namely Planeshift Dominaria. Spoilers, Dominaria is your boilerplate fantasyland in Magic. It's a D&D elf with extra steps, but you can do it. Done! Yes! Fuck, I hate elves. I mean, I'm glad the first topic we were talking about in Magic the Gathering was Dominaria. It's a classic, but I mean, Llanawar? Really? Why? So yeah, I'm Bolter. That was Beefsnake Nerdcast. I'm on the socials. Elves suck. We're talking about Tzeentch next time. And that's a good one. Good night, everybody. Bye!